What's going on, guys? Rockley AC here. I am with the second place finisher from the Rockford, Illinois LCQ's Day 1. Why don't you introduce yourself, what deck you played, and how you did over the weekend?
Hi, how's it going, guys? My name's Ricky. I played Porunga Ramp, or as I like to call it, Rampunga.
Nice.
Anyone's fan of Boy Meets World, think Topanga.
Wow,
Rampunga.
that's awesome. Good nickname.
Yeah, so deck's super fun to play. I fell in love with it over the weekend. Was originally going to play Clash of Fate's Goku, but the weekend before we were testing with some buddies, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try Shenron Ramp just for, you know, all the giggles and everything like that. Fell in love with the deck. Shout out to Brandon Scott. He played Porunga Ramp at Orlando. He was actually a good friend of my buddy Quinn.
Okay, nice.
Kind of turned me onto it. Decided to play it. Had super fun. Went 6-1 all weekend. I believe my matchups were: round 1 was the Mirror. Round 2 I played against Toa. Round 3 was Slug. Round 4 was the Mirror again. Round 5 I played on stream against Kefla U6. It was a very terrifying matchup because U6 is aggro and Porunga hates aggro.
Defend, yep.
Round 6 and 7 were both mirrors. The only difference was 7 was Shenron.
Okay, nice. And great finish on that. And all the mirror matches, you pretty much did 2-0, or like how did it
a lot
pan
of
out?
them, I think
Came down again.
all of them but one were 2-1s.
Okay.
And then the round 4-1, I lost 2-1.
Okay. Well, for the most part, you did great against the mirror match, because I heard that's pretty much like 25% of the field was was all Shenron Ramp.
The key to the mirror matches, regardless of die roll or anything, is whoever resolves Goji to 7 first is more than likely going to win it.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's go ahead and kick off this deck profile and go ahead with the leader.
All right, so leader, front side is Dragon Ball. It's pretty much the same thing as the original Dragon Ball everyone thinks about. You tap it, search 2 Dragon Balls, you awaken, you grab a Desire card. Back side is where it gets a little spicier. Porunga, his first 2 effects are basically the same. You can draw 1, you can activate a Desire for free that's equal to your energy. And his ultimate is what really made me decide to use it, is that he has a built-in world peace. So
nice.
I thought the application of this was way more stronger than giving something triple attack with the advent of Toa.
Okay.
Because you don't want to, you know, blow your ultimate and it just gets taken away for no reason.
Overwhelm the board with big guys. So.
Exactly. So you can essentially play up to 3 world peace in 1 turn.
Nice.
All right. For the build, pretty standard. You have your 5 Dragon Balls. Nothing special about them. You play it for free, draw 1 card. Your 1/1 Star Ball, there's a lot of different applications you use for this for. So against Shinemba, you can pitch your Super Dragon Balls. You can use it to fill your drop, things like that. And it's also a neg-1 for your opponent inherently.
Good against like Toa and people with low hand size.
And then Super Dragon Ball, I know a lot of people go back and forth on whether or not using this. I enjoy it because it filters through your deck a lot, fills your drop. Against Shinemba, it's great. A little spicy thing you can do is you can pitch Dragon Balls with it. So instead of drawing 6 cards, you can actually only draw 2, things like that.
Yeah. So you don't draw out too much against the mill.
One thing a lot of people go back and forth is 3 Zeno buttons. Some people opt to not run any, some people run less. I thought 3 was perfect. I saw them whenever I needed to. If I saw too many, I could charge them. It allows you to tap out and not be afraid of anything. You're primarily charging blue in the deck, so you can literally turn 2, play your Super Dragon Balls against aggro, you're living.
Tap out and, you know, combo with your 10Ks.
Yeah. I played 1 an unexpected turn. This was for the U6 matchup or anything generally that wants to try to aggro you down super quickly. A lot of people don't expect it main board, so it just caught some people off guard with
Was it helpful throughout the weekend?
I think I resolved it against the Slug matchup a couple times, and against the U6 player, just put in work.
Okay, gotcha.
I ran 2 Radar main board. This just recycles your world pieces. I mainly used it to grab Super Dragon Ball a lot of time just to refill my hand after objectioning. It's just an all-around very solid card.
Alright.
Ran 4 Whis' Coercion.
Nice.
It's just a generically good negate, essentially free, not much more to say about it. And then I ran 4 Sensu Beans. These were pretty much mostly energy. You can do some cute things where your turn 3, when you play the Wish, you could swing, stand up more energy, and potentially do another world piece or anything like that.
Nice.
Alright, going on with more of the extra cards, I ran 4 Objections. The key play that I always did was my turn 3. I almost every game out of maybe the 20 plus games I played, I always had 2 to 3 objections in hand.
Right.
So turn 3, you charge your third energy, and you can literally jump from 3 to 6 to potentially 7 energy in one turn.
Right.
And
right.
that's just huge. You know,
That's
doing
insane.
that, it's almost impossible for your opponent to come back from.
Yeah.
The bread and butter of the deck, World Peace. It's Monster Reborn. It's honestly probably one of the more broken cards in the deck, probably in the game. Being able just to bring anything out for necessarily free when you're awakened is just insanely
so
powerful.
Right, especially in this format where decks go in a little bit later turns, so it's perfect.
All right, so onto the battle cards. I ran 2 Westkai. I see a lot of people, they either run this or Jocko. I prefer this just because it's not a mandatory bounce.
Right, choose up to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this puts in work against decks like U6 or even in the mirror. So say the opponent swings with a Whis, they're wanting to fill their drop, they combo a Gogeta 7 or something, you say, nope, I'm going to put it back, their turn's essentially done.
Right. Fun card. Kind of came
is.
out of nowhere, but it's a great tech.
Yeah, it's great. Then for super combos, staple, you need them.
Okay.
Sparking 5, you get it off turn 2 almost guaranteed.
Right.
Alright. We run 2 Shenron. He was okay over the course of the event. I never gave crit to anything. Never really felt I needed it.
Okay.
It was mostly, if I played him, it was just to further my objection plays, things like that.
Sure, yeah. Stand untapped.
Continuing with the ramp package, we have 3 Whis Tendon. Never felt like I needed to see more.
Right.
Never had an issue finding them. It's just play it, add extra energy.
Were there certain times that you had a hard cast Whis?
Yeah, there are times where I would hardcast it. I think I maybe did it 2 or 3 times throughout the entire event.
Okay.
A little bit of removal for the board, Gogeta
Nice.
5. This card was okay. A lot of times I felt myself charging it. It's nice to have in the drop just in case if you need it. The drawing 2 is always nice. And making them bottom deck something is a lot more powerful than just sending it to the drop because then there's no recursion possible with it.
Would you ever play this against the mirror to apply pressure, or not so much?
You can, but a lot of times I feel like the less you swing at them, the better. Granted, it can be a double-edged sword because they can get more off a Kaioken,
Right.
but you don't want to give them additional resources as well.
Right, makes sense.
This was another one of the MVPs of the deck, this SS2 Trunks. You play it for 6, you immediately ramp up to 7. It's very beneficial because this is what enables you to go from 6 energy to 7 energy turn 3. It also draws you a card, so it's objection without the neg.
Right,
and it puts
right.
a 30k double strike body on board.
Very strong. That worked really well for you this weekend?
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved it so much.
Nice.
Now on to the bombs of the deck, the ones that are going to get you to the end. Gogeta 7, the bane of everyone's existence. Everyone hates this card.
Gotta play it.
The one thing you always want to be careful of, because this did come up, not for me, but for one of my opponents, you always want to make sure that if you choose to use your ultimate for this card, you want to make sure you have 10 in drop.
Right.
Because a lot of times people will world pieces and, you know, they have the 7 Dragon Balls and then however much in drop, it's fine. But if you ultimate this, the
Right.
7 Dragon Balls are out of there.
That's
so
true.
you want to make sure. So this burns someone in it.
Right, right.
Probably the only card more broken than Gogeta 7 is Kaioken.
Yep.
This card put in so much work. This enabled essentially both victory strikes in the deck that I'll get to in just a moment.
Right.
The key thing to remember, and this is what actually ended up causing me my 1 loss, was this card can't be KO'd when you play it and get to 1. Remember
Nice.
that.
Right, right. So many effects on these cards, so it
is
easily.
It's so broken you forget just how broken it truly
Right,
is.
right. It's like, oh, it's broken and then more broken on
So
top
the
of
first victory strike in the deck, Beerus.
it? Beerus, got
I
it.
resolved this card probably a third of all my games.
Wow.
This card is so broken. Every time I saw it, I wanted to play it. It's so fun. Swinging, opponent has 1 or less cards in the hand. You're like, okay, board wipe, energy wipe. They're like, I'm sorry, what?
You usually go Gogeta 7 into Beerus. And
Everyone forgets this card. Either they weren't around during set 1 days
That's
or they
true.
just completely forgot about it.
yeah, a lot of people had to read them.
It can catch a lot of people with their pants down.
Right, right.
And
Some
then-
people like that.
And then I had Victory Strike for the event, but I don't have it now because I borrowed it from my friend Joe. So
All right,
shout out
that's
to
good.
Joe for doing that.
Nice proxy. That's all right.
Yeah, this is actually the Goku Oopsie Greer just flipped around.
It's only a $300 card. That's okay.
Yeah. Victory Strike is Victory Strike. There's not much to say about it.
Right.
After you've picked their hand clean between Gogeta 7 and the Kaioken, there's just nothing they can do about it.
Were there certain decks that you would choose Victory Strike over certain cards?
I mean, in the mirror match, I feel Goku Oob is far superior just because you're putting them behind 2 energies.
Right.
I feel Victory Strike is really only super necessary against Toa.
Okay.
Just because there's nothing they can do against it.
Right, right.
Now moving on to the sideboard.
Okay. So main 50 into the sideboard.
Sideboard, I ran an extra radar. This was useful against anything that wasn't Janemba. I would side this set in most cases. I'll probably end up bumping this up to 3 in the main board.
Okay.
It's just more recursion, more world peace recursion, more returning Dragon Balls to hand, things like that. I ran a second copy of an Unexpected Turn. This came against U6. Side this in as well against Lord Slug. Anything that really wants to go wide, it's super good about. And a lot of people, they still forget that this is a card. So it does catch people off guard.
So definitely sideboard.
Ran 1 Dark Power, Black Mass Saiyan. This was an interesting little tech that I thought up for myself. It was, you're never going to swing with it. It's more or less play it on the board, and then your opponent has to play around it. It's just something extra, an extra hurdle for your opponent to have to get over.
Sure. So against like Kaba decks, like with Planet Sadala or...
Yeah. And then
the boys.
I have my Toki Toki package. The 1 Toki Toki, Dende, and then 2 Kamis. I went back and forth between either playing 2 Kamis or 2 Dendes. The Dendes is much better in the mirror match, but I didn't really fear the mirror match too much, more so fearing the aggro matchups. So I opted for the 2 Kamis.
The Kamis, gotcha. How was the Toki Toki engine in general?
The Toki Toki engine, it worked just fine. I mean, you cycle through the deck so quickly that you never really have an issue of seeing anything.
Right.
A little more aggro hate, ran 2 Supreme Kai Time Disruptors.
Nice.
It's just generically good card. If their board starts getting too wide, play her and you just say you're not doing anything else for the rest of the turn. And it draws you a card.
Yeah,
so
good
that's always
early
nice.
counterplay. Very good.
Ran 2 Power Bursts. This ran in conjunction with all my 1-drops. It's just recurring it. It's essentially a 1-for-1. You're not negging. This deck negs enough between your objections and things like that.
Okay.
So you want to try to minimize as many card you're burning out of your hand as possible.
Sure.
And then an MVP in all my mirror matches was King Yema.
Only 1.
Yeah, only 1. Like I said, you cycle so hard through the deck that it's, if you don't see it, it's just kind of bad luck on your part. But this card put in a lot of work, and it's recurable through the 4-drop Shenron.
Right.
So you can loop it if need be. I mean, you could swing with a Whis, combo this off, they take the damages, whatever, and then you just bring it back, and you're putting away all their threats. It's even good against the U6 matchup because then their 1-drop Kales become essentially useless. They're not getting the most optimal plays they want.
Right. Yeah, it's a very good tech card against those specific nets. AOD, randomness.
1 Mafuba. It's just a generically good card. A lot of people don't expect it. With kind of blue falling off the map a little bit out of certain niche decks for it.
Random big bombs.
It's just good. Yeah. I ran 1 Porunga. I never sided this in. I felt like I ended up having enough aggro hate between the Unexpected Turns and everything else for it.
Okay.
I might end up cutting this card. I'm going back and forth. I just feel it's too interactable. I feel like there's too much your opponent can do to stop it. And you don't want to burn the 3 energy or burn a world peace for something that just gets stopped cold.
Okay, that's fair.
And then the last card was Fu Shrouded in Mystery. One of my friends turned me onto this card saying that it would be super beneficial to play. Never cited it in, never felt the need to play it. The turns where I was dropping my bombs or turns I won.
Yeah.
I see the applications for it, but the turn that you're really going all in, you're not tapping 6 or anything. You want to tap all 8 energy or 3 energy and something else for your world pieces.
Yeah, your priority are the bigger guys, and you could cast that more than having a heavy cost like that.
Yeah, so overall...
Awesome.
Overall, I felt the deck was really solid. There's a lot of applications that you can run in the sideboard. World Peace being able to bring literally anything back kind of blows the door wide open. I'm already starting to think up kind of a toolbox. I mean, aside from the draft box, just looking into older cards, like I'm thinking about the set 1 Go Tanks. You can free
Sure.
will piece it out, untap 2 energy, objection again.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous.
Opens the door for other possibilities.
It is. The deck's
Yeah.
broken. I
Right.
mean, the mirror match, a lot of people think it's a die roll, but I think it's whoever resolves Gogeta to 7. I don't think I went first the entire event,
Okay.
aside from matches that I lost.
Right,
so
right.
I was still able to come back and win games even where I lost the die roll.
Sweet. Any shout outs before we end the video?
I want to shout out my 2 best friends, my testing partners, Quinn and Joe, my wife Sandra for putting up with my hobby. And I also want to shout out Brandon Scott. He's the one who kind of tutored me through the deck and kind of
Okay.
guided me through it.
Awesome.
I'm also going to shout out AC for being a great YouTube creator.
Hey, I try. Awesome. Well, great job again. I know you've been grinding hard the last couple weeks, especially coming back from Super. I know you took a little bit of break, but I'm really happy to see you, finish this strong, and I look forward to seeing you in the Nationals.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, Ricky. We'll see you soon.